Hi there, and welcome to the Skylight Books author reading series. If you'd like to learn more about us and our many upcoming author events, please visit skylightbooks.com, where you can browse our inventory, buy books, and join our Friends with Benefits Club. You can also follow us on Twitter, Tumblr, and Facebook. To speak to a real live bookseller like me, please call 323-660-1175. Thanks for your support, and enjoy.
We're joined tonight by Joe Donnelly, who is an award-winning journalist, writer, and editor who lives in LA. His work has appeared in the LA Times, Los Angeles Review of Books. I already cut this down, too. Excellent. Should I continue? Los Angeles Review of Books, LA Weekly, Mother Jones, Huck, Orion, The Surface Journal, Washington Post, and others.
Skylight Books.
This is the first for me. From 2002 to 2008, Donnelly was a deputy editor of LA Weekly. He co-founded and co-edited Slake, Slake Los Angeles, the acclaimed journal of long-form journalism, fiction, essay, poetry, photography, and art. In 2014, Rare Bird Books published We Dropped a Bomb on You, the best of Slake. And in 2018, they published LA Man. About which Luke Davies says Donnelly writes with big-hearted, languid elegance about migrating wolves, mad criminals, surf and skate pioneers, musicians, movie stars, and mortality. Each piece charts its own course, but the overall effect is that of a freewheeling ride through gritty Southern California zeitgeist. Here he is.
Thank you. Thank you all so much for coming. I know how hard it is to get anywhere, especially on a Thursday night. I know you have many entertainment options, mostly staying home, which is my favorite these days. So I really appreciate you guys coming. I want to start out by I'm so touched by some of my students from Whittier College who have come out here, and I'm actually going to introduce them. No, should I introduce you now? No? Yeah? Yes. Whittier students, just raise your hand and Whittier in the house. Yeah. Full pride. So it means so much to me, and they're really these are heartfelt people. They're heartful people. Their hearts are full, and I get that every day I'm on campus with these young people, and to have them come here is just breaking my heart. Thank you for being here. So, hey, you guys in the back, hey, come, do you want to get something? Yeah. It feels like all of a sudden when the music goes off, and it's like, it just feels so like, you know? Like, what happened? Everyone be quiet. Come up, get a drink. I don't care. Walk through here. So, hey, do it. Okay? Whatever. I spent a lot of money on this shit, so make sure I get to it. Also, I mean, this is, this is nice. I've got a book coming out and blah, blah, blah. I'm sorry, James Comey, our books come out on the same day. Really sorry about that. I'm sure I'll move up from 1 million on Amazon to, something like 500,000. But it's not, I mean, this is always about you guys, about Los Angeles, about this amazing place we live in and the amazing creative people that we have here. And I haven't done much of this since, for about 10, well, I've posted some people at other bookstores, but sorry. I haven't done any of this since the Slake heyday, when, we used to be backed out the door and all that kind of stuff. So it's really nice to see this again. It's nice to see so many folks whose work has inspired me, so many people here whom are part of this creative community. Danny Katz, whose book just came out, New Paradigm, and it's a wonderful book about language, about ways to use language and how to be better at using language. Alan McDonnell, who's in the back there, the great Alan McDonnell, great editor, writer. His Punk Elegies came out a couple years ago, and I was pleased to be a part of breaking that. Oh. That's my daughter Olivia. She likes to. Hey, Olivia, say hi to everybody. Hi. I mean, so many. Matthew Durston, who's the name of your book escapes me right now, but it was a great book about jazz.
Midnight Pacific Airways.
Midnight. Yeah, I just want anyone who's got, come on, Scott Creeley, great writer, poet, Michelle Chahara, both of whom I'm lucky enough to work with at Whittier, a great writer and poet. Yeah, hand up the air. Craig Gaines and Erica Zora-Wrightson are in the house. Both have been integral to, Craig was integral to Slake, and Erica contributed, and there's some door prizes. I'm going to give away what few copies I have to the best questions. I tried to get into our storage to bring like a whole box of Slakes here, but my wife gave me the wrong key, and we couldn't get in. We can't find the key itself, so like some hidden treasures, there are a few boxes. It's like at the end of Raiders of the Lost Ark, somewhere there's a box of that stuff somewhere. Brian, nice to see you. Kino, so many faces. Sorry, and I'm sorry, what's your name again? Riley Perez. Yeah, we met earlier. He has a book coming out on Rare Bird later. So just shout outs to all of you guys. Always Los Angeles. It's always about LA. It's always about this great Norman Olstad. I just saw him pop in there. Yeah, great writer whom you should look up. So many people, and so many of them have contributed to Slake. So, and so many of you, it's heartwarming to see so many of you guys here. Okay, have I taken up enough time? Do I have to do anything else? Okay, great. Okay, should I read something?
Yes.
Well, I'm gonna, at the risk of embarrassing him, the great Craig Stecyk is here somewhere in the back. Yeah, he's over there. And I was lucky enough to have him write a foreword to this book, and this was something that was very meaningful to me. Craig is a truly inspirational person to me. He's an amazing artist, and he's an artist who does it for his own reasons, his own art, his own muse. He doesn't ever conform to the prevailing trends. He doesn't care about. There's Luke Davies in the back, got a speed. Nice to see you, Luke. Yeah, I'm just shouting out everybody, man. Thanks for coming. But Craig is a really, really, really seminal person who helped define the West Coast aesthetic. And I have a profile in here of Craig, and he was gracious enough to write the foreword. So I don't want to read the profile of him because that would be too embarrassing, but I'm just going to read this profile that he wrote. A recent blunt force head trauma had rendered me incommunicado. My memory recall was non-existent. The old cranial bell had become permanently wrong when my skull hit the hardwood deck of an indigenous boat traversing a rigorously strict Islamic archipelago. No idea how Joe D got my number, as I then had none. But he came at me out of the void, popping up and requesting an interview about matters that had transpired decades ago. My answer was an emphatic no. The previously described perpetual mental haze prevented my willing participation in such an exercise. That wasn't much of a deterrence to Donnelly, who seemed more interested in my participation than my willingness. Somehow, 18 years later, Donnelly is still around and still demanding answers. Though his perpetual interrogations and musings, through his perpetual interrogations and musing, he has morphed from the aforementioned terrorist into a well-respected member of my ohana. I realize that this could perhaps be interpreted as a classic case of Stockholm Syndrome. This book is a lot like that, him, there, then, now. Glad tidings from an unrelenting inquisitor. Great work oftentimes hurts as well as it heals. In times like these, a good read is all that really matters. Thank you, Craig. So, and my ambitions for hey, thanks guys, more beautiful Whittier College students, hey guys. So my ambitions for a great read was something that you could take to the bathroom with you. I mean, how else are you going to get Lou Reed and Werner Herzog and Wes Anderson and Carmen Electra and Olivia Wilde and Drew Barrymore and Lauren Weedman and Christian Bale and Craig Stecyk and Sean Penn and Sandow Burke and Eddie Padilla in the bathroom with you without a book or some other inducements. So here they are. You can take a crap with Christian Bale. Thank you. The man laughing up front is Christian Elder, whose wonderful collection of poetry, Sexting, came out, was that Don't tell me how long ago was that.
Enough.
No, okay. Is that enough? Well, here he is. So pick up their books and have them sign. You might be able to grab some of them and have them sign. Okay, sorry. So I'm going to read a little bit from. Hey, sweetie. Okay, I'm going to read a little bit from this Wes Anderson profile. So the setup is, I wrote little intros to all the pieces to give them like context, both to the stories themselves and what was going on. A lot of it what was going on with me when they were being written, because and sometimes enough to make me cringe, the pieces reflect a lot of what was going on with me. So despite what I say about it not being about me, it's always about me. Oftentimes, as I look back, my most creative period was I was in a lot of distress during a lot of these pieces, I think it helped add to the quality of some of it, because I think it helped with empathy. When you're in pain or stress or distress, it really helps connect with these folks and helps make things real. So So Craig, Wes Anderson and I drove to Texas. He lives in Texas, and Rushmore was opening in New York and Los Angeles at the same time as we drove to Texas. We started early in the morning. I picked him up on Highland, just south of Wilshire, near where the old Bob's Big Boy used to be. You guys remember that? Yeah, I picked him up there early in the morning. He had like a cooler full of sandwiches and snacks and Cokes and stuff like that, and one duffel bag for his clothes. And we just drove for 14 straight hours. And in this piece, I developed two characters: the driver, Wes Anderson, and the passenger, me. So I'm just going to pick up in the middle, I think. Yeah, this is where we decided to crank call Bill Murray. For a long time now, the vistas have been numbingly spare. I can barely see, by the way, and redundant. Interstate 40, the more efficient if less resplendent replacement for old Route 66, goes on in a monochrome southwestern blur. We're not sure where we are on the maps, but it feels as if we must be halfway to Amarillo. To combat something like the doldrums, driver and passenger down large colas and a gigantic bag of peanut M&Ms. Then we agree to take advantage of the driver's access to ambush the notoriously inaccessible Bill Murray with an unsolicited call. Beneath road-weary giddiness at the prospect of interrupting him at home is the notion that this might not be a good idea. That if Murray is not up for it, the wind could go right out of our sails. Then what will we do? But the sugar and caffeine prevail, and the driver dials the secret number. After Anderson briefs him on the situation, Murray seems eager to talk. It's clear he likes the idea of a couple guys driving into the night with a fairly absurd destination in mind. Amarillo? Why Amarillo? Because that's where Anderson made his first stop the last time he drove to New York, and it worked. Weirdly enough, as Murray warms up to the car phone, the passenger gets the idea the actor wouldn't mind riding shotgun on this trip. Is what you see with Wes what you get? The passenger asks, looking over at the driver, who has resumed looking straight ahead. No, I don't think what you see is what you get with Wes. You get much more, answers Murray. That didn't sound anything like Bill Murray. In the background is the excited pitch of the family pool tournament we've taken Murray away from. He looks like R. Chrome's old drawings of himself. He looks like he's going to be outraged, like he finally sees what's really wrong with you, and then the horror backs off and the beauty comes through. Murray goes on to say that what made the Rushmore shoot work for him, besides the quality of the material, was Anderson's ability to stress the positive. Wes could find the good content in whatever you were working with. That made it easy. It freed you up to work. His wife's sharp cue having hastened an early departure from the action, Murray peppers a conversation with droll commentary on the tournament's progress. It isn't hard to place him there as Bloom, that's the character he played in Rushmore, off to the side in a tux, cigarette dangling from his lips, a spectator in a tournament of his own making, tossing peanuts to the family retriever in a small act of resignation and rebellion. It is suggested to Murray that his characterization of Bloom has an elegant, spiritually wasted quality that suits the actor. I was feeling the elegance of my own spiritual wastedness. I was feeling how all the touchstones of wealth and privilege are slippery, he says. Those emotions are not far from anyone's home if you've lived a little. Some days I come home and I feel a little sore. I felt like I'd been cooked a little. What about Anderson? Has Murray seen something in him that might not be apparent to the casual observer, or even the 14-hour one? He's very good at what he does, but don't be afraid to ask him if he needs a Band-Aid or some change. Things you generally ask of people who look like they're in worse shape than him, Murray says in a way that makes you unsure how serious he is. A Band-Aid, yeah, I think a Band-Aid. There's some cuts there. The first night we were on the shoot, he gave me 3 pairs of socks, recalls Anderson after Murray hangs up. 2 are still in my bag. So I caught up with Wes Anderson 10 years later, and as this is the shortest author's note to a piece in the book, it just says 10 years later some things have changed. So Rushmore was breaking when we drove to Texas on his way to New York. He's from Texas, and his brother kept calling him and asking him to come home, but he was, I think, hesitant to come home. Now he's living in Paris, and The Fabulous Mr. Fox had just come out. The Life Aquatic with Steve Zissou had come out. The Budapest Hotel had come out. It kind of sort of not done so well. And I met him for breakfast, and the only thing that was the same was his voracious appetite. He had already eaten, but then he ate a whole other huge, like, the equivalent would be like a Denny's Grand Slam breakfast. And so we sat and ate, but now he was like sort of a raggedy, grungy, kid. Well, he's 29, but when I met him 10 years prior, now he had a Hollywood makeover. His hair was like kind of frosted and swoopy, which, I'm a hater, obviously. And he was wearing like a corduroy suit, and it was monogrammed, and it was really like he is like living one of his movies or something. So I also hated The Fabulous Mr. Fox, which puts me, I know, right? What? Oh, well, I'm not going there. But so I was already teed. Something was wrong. The romance was over, and it's kind of like, you catch up with an old flame, and it's just like, okay, I guess we got to eat. Let's get up. So, I'm not sure why Anderson's recent movies have gone badly. All seem like different expressions of an artist's singular voice, each unique in its own way, yet instantly recognizable as an Anderson film. There's a scene in the Darjeeling... Oh, this is what I meant. No, it's Darjeeling Unlimited, not Budapest Hotel. There's a scene in the Darjeeling Limited that crystallizes that voice and the deep, inchoate Weltschmerz Anderson seems to have been grappling with since Bottle Rocket. In it, the lovely train attendant, whom Schwartzman's Jack, as in Nicholson, has become infatuated with, asks him, "What is wrong with you?" as he and his brothers are being kicked off the train. "Let me think about that. I'll tell you next time I see you," Jack replies, staring after her as the train pulls away. Now Anderson speaking. "I feel like, what's wrong with you? That could almost be addressed to practically my entire circle of friends," Anderson says. "The world is saying that to us. What's wrong with you? When you ask me, what are you grappling with, that's more or less..." He pauses and laughs. "Let me think about it, and I'll tell you the next time I see you. I don't really know, but it's kind of vast enough that you can sink your teeth into it." We say our goodbyes, and I wonder as I drive north on a tidy street if it'll be another 10 years before he can tell me. Then I see a figure striding through the Beverly Hills flats with the late afternoon sun reflecting off his corduroy suit like it would his shield. There are no people anywhere, and the trees are little and white, and the Spanish-style houses are little and white, and the yards are precisely manicured. There's nothing out of the ordinary going on here other than somebody walking in LA. And yet, for some reason, the whole thing strikes me as the loneliest thing on earth. I pull over and ask him if he wants a lift. He does. Yeah! How you doing? A little more? Is that... Yeah? Please. Drink break? Anybody?
Do a girl.
Who said that?
Melanie.
Thanks, Melanie. Do a girl.
An hour later.
Huh?
Carmen Electra.
No. I mean, there was the interview in the LA Weekly, needed a spoiler alert. It's Joe, many people and the Carmen Electra. He didn't hook up with her. I think there's a way to take the thing out of it. Because the conceit was a date with Carmen Electra, in case anybody's wondering what that reference was. How about a wolf?
Yes.
Okay.
We're fans of the wolf. Female wolf?
Who keeps yelling from over there?
Is it a female wolf?
No. Who is that? Who?
Melody.
Why are you being like that? I can't see you. Come out. All right. Do you want? Should I do a little Carmen Electra?
No, just
Okay, wolf. All right, the wolf it is. I'll take requests after if we have time. How's that? Okay, so a little setup for this. Like I said, a lot of this stuff was written in interesting times, as they say. So it was around 2011 when I caught wind of this wild wolf that had come down into California and was basically habitating around in Northern California in Plumas County. And this was the first wild wolf to enter and habitate in California in 90 years. And he'd come down from Oregon in this incredible journey. And I was completely burned out at the time. I had to end Slake. I'd blown all the money that we still don't have anymore. Sorry, baby. I was fried. I was broke. I had been fired from everywhere you could be fired from, which will probably be an ongoing thing. We were in the middle of this horrible recession, and then, the Occupy movement happened. You guys remember that? Woo woo, yeah. And LA, as LA does, this "Don't Tell Me This City Ain't Got No Soul" with its big heart had the longest running and largest Occupy movement in the country. Of course, like we have the biggest marches, like we do everything the best. So, but I used to go down there and bring water, bring 5-gallon things. I wasn't going to stay there, no. But I did put my friend Sam Slavic there, and he stayed there for like a year. I gave him a tent and the sleeping bag, and he wrote about it and did a documentary. But the Occupy movement kind of stirred me. I was like, finally, someone's resisting before we had that, term. And I was sort of like at a spiritual dead-end crisis or something, and then this wolf traversed across California, right to the very place where the last wolf in California had been shot and killed in a massive extirpation program that, not for nothing, occurred simultaneously with wiping out Native Americans. Those two things were in the way of manifest destiny, and we killed them all, basically. So finally, there had been this program to bring back wolves in the West, and wolves steadily migrated east. And one of them came down to California. It's like, fuck yeah. Like, fuck yeah, this wolf is a fucking hero, Because this wolf is coming through here and saying, fuck you to everybody. And, and especially to those takers, those extractors, those people who are grinding our lives, into the dust. With the economic imperatives, with the take. And so I thought, sorry, Phyllis, for swearing like that. This is my aunt-in-law here, all the way down from Reading, whose house we stopped at along the way. So my lovely wife at the time, who was my girlfriend, we're like, let's hop in the car and let's retrace this wolf's steps and try and find him. And that journey took me all the way up to northeast Oregon eventually, and out into the habitat where he came from. And I continued this quest for a while, for a couple years, and I eventually, up around Medford, found his poop, which was like amazing. To me, it was like I found, Spanish doubloons, a whole treasure chest. I took pictures, I sent everyone. I was like, okay, Anyway, no one believed me though. It's so rare, and I sent the picture to the head of the Oregon Fish and Wildlife Department. He just sent back this curt message. Yep, that looks like wolf poop. I was like, yes. Did you want to tell me something, Nick?
I don't know what she wants.
Okay. So this is when I'm on this road trip to go find him, retracing his steps. This crazy journey he made. This wolf traversed, thousands of miles, and was here in Northern California, driving everyone crazy. Everyone wanted to shoot him, kill him, get rid of him. Oh my God, it's the government. They sent him in. Blah blah blah. The devil's here. Nothing causes hysteria like a wolf. Nothing upsets. Nothing upsets the status quo like a wolf.
It's really true.
Thank you, Scott. Yeah. Well, I always cry when I read this, so be prepared. I'm trying to read the part that I don't usually cry.
Cry, please.
my students are like, yeah, you cry all the time. Okay. So back along the banks of the North Fork Feather River, the water is just a moving silhouette. I turn off the flashlight and crouch down at the river's edge, scanning the area without moving my head, trying to be as still as possible, looking for movement the way OR7, that's the name of the wolf, might. Though at 120 degrees of arc, my visual field is only 2/3 of his. Wolf stories like ghost stories emerge through insinuation and grow into their own kind of lore. Large tracks in the mud, a moonlit howling that is too resonant to be the nattering of coyotes, a tingle down the spine. Or if you're an unlucky rancher, a hollowed-out rib cage where once was a sheep or a calf. A wolf scene is a wolf mostly seen by accident, happy or otherwise. I turn my back to the river and face the other way, toward the hillside, where that buck outside my trailer probably came from. The air is still. Nothing moves but gnats and mosquitoes, no sounds but the gurgling river. I feel exposed, not so much hunted as haunted, and I like it. It's coming. I can't tell you how much this piece means to me, so that's why I get verklempt. The next morning I drive further north into territory OR7 may be claiming for himself. The road passes through Lassen National Forest and eventually skirts under the 14,179 feet high Mount Shasta, just about an hour from where OR7 crossed over from Oregon. The route travels a California rarely seen by those who live within the clutches of the coastal megalopolises. Here, salmon run in the rivers and bald eagles fly so low you can almost look them in the eye. OR7 crossed this road and others many times as he traveled south. I scanned the valley floors, farms, and ranches, picturing him loping along the edge of the highway at night, filled with the curiosity and the courage of one whose only experience of fear is that which he inspires. I see him stealing through private property where easy meals and misguided liaisons with canine cousins tempt his hungry soul. I imagine all the itchy fingers waiting for a shot at his shadow. The air feels wild and dangerous and alive in a new way. So do I. And I begin to understand even more why OR7's incursion matters, why the land is so relieved to feel his feet pushing down into its soil once again. The land knows what I know driving into the untamed night, that we're less than we can be without him. Should we end on an upbeat note? Yeah, that is upbeat. Thank you. But a little like what? Spin everywhere. Thanks, though. I'll read a little bit from this Werner Herzog piece I did. He was amazing. So there's a lot of connections. So, for instance, when I did this piece on Christian Bale, there's a lot of people calling in, like Werner Herzog called in, or somehow I called Werner Herzog, I can't remember, and he told me this amazing story about when he rescued someone from a car crash, and it turned out that was, who was that? It was an actor, a famous actor, it's in this piece, I can't remember. But there's a guy who was in that movie, LA in the Future, and he's like dates, see what I'm talking about? Who's the blonde actress?
Goldie Hawn?
Who?
Goldie Hawn?
I don't know. The one who was...
Joaquin?
Yes, Joaquin Phoenix. Thank you. I was going to say the one who was before Jennifer, whatever her name is. The one who's also blonde. Lawrence, sorry. Okay, anyway. So Werner Herzog called in the middle and he told me this amazing story about rescuing someone. And it turns out it was Joaquin Phoenix. And they made a movie about it and everything. And then they also told me, the story about getting shot. I think he actually got shot while we were talking on the phone. I can't remember exactly. And then turns out he actually did get shot. He got shot by from an air gun. And we're talking and he says, "Oh, I just got shot." I'm like, "Oh, do you want to do something?" He's like, "No, I think it's just this flesh wound or something. I think it's just superficial," and he just carries on the conversation. And he's very funny. That was the thing I remember about him, is how funny he was. So, and I was happy. I was really, thanks to Lori Ochoa, who just came in. Hi, Lori. I was lucky enough to be able to sit down and break bread with Werner Herzog. So I'm just going to read a little bit of this. It's just at the end. And we started talking politics and, the election and stuff like that. Herzog isn't surprised that the issue of Rust Belt decay has finally found its way to the top of the national conversation. There's justice in it, he says, because for years I've been complaining to my friends, liberals, Democrats, men and women who have a lot of sense, make good observations, but they came to politics between Seattle and Boston and New York and Los Angeles and would speak about the rest of America as the flyovers. And I said, that's a cynical way to look at the heartland of America. Though Herzog thinks it's good that the heartland found its voice, he knows all too well what can happen when that voice curdles. In my childhood and in my adolescence, I saw the aftermath of what should have never happened. But let me say something about America. America, no matter what, always has this enormous, mysterious way to rejuvenate itself and pull itself out of crisis, and that is something that always gives me confidence in your country. It's reassuring, perhaps, that Herzog, an artist who has mined as deeply as any the absurdities and pratfalls of our existence, is optimistic about the future. This is another connection, Weltschmerz. I use that word like 10 times. I'm not in the mood of Weltschmerz, he says, using the German word for world weariness that describes how many are feeling these days. I'm into the mood of joy of the world, absolute joy and curiosity. I'm full of projects, and I'm full of joy and full of things that I see on the horizon. And I hope you guys are too. Thank you. Thank you so much. It's such a pleasure. I can't tell you how much it means to have you guys here. Drink, eat, drink, coffee, booze, wine. Thank you. Sorry for those, what? Huh? Oh, yeah, questions. Sorry. Yeah. No, we're not done? God, yeah. Yeah, who's the question? Yeah, question. Yes. What's your name, young lady? Diane?
Yeah.
Where are you coming from?
From Westchester.
All the way from Westchester, Los Angeles? West Side. How did you get here? Did you take a plane, helicopter?
This is my best friend.
Thank you. Quite your question. Yes, thank you.
Okay, so I want to know when you fell in love with writing. How old were you, and how did you start writing?
When did I fall in love with writing?
What age?
How old was I?
14.
I don't know. You know, that's a tough question. It seems like I've always been sort of messing around with writing for as long as I could remember. I used to, write. Believe it or not, I used to write little mini profiles and character sketches of my dad's crazy friends. Like, my dad was a wild man, and so were his friends. And so I would try and write these pieces that captured their essence. And that was very young. But the truth is, I'm a writer because I'm a chicken. Unlike Brett, I wanted to be. He wasn't chicken. He became a rock star. I wanted to be a rock star, and I can't sing. I can't hold a tune. I mean, to sing it, I'm pretty good. I'm okay on guitar, but I'm not really that good. And every song I write sounds, not musically, but the lyrics are all the same. Like, that's all. So I'm not very good at this. So I better have a fallback plan. And so I was literally out in Vail, Colorado, just playing like open mic nights. Anybody know Artie Nelson? You guys know him, my good friend Artie Nelson. We were out there, and we were called the Lost Boys. That was the name of our band. I'll give you an idea of how bad we were. We were like the Indigo Dudes. Yeah, we were terrible. Well, and so I'm like, and I was just pushing lawnmowers and cleaning chimneys, and being a short order cook, and just smoking mild. Sorry, Phyllis. Just smoking endless amounts of stuff and drinking lots of stuff, and I was like, "Fuck, I got." Oh, sorry. Anyway, I got to do something. So this, I worked. I was bartending at this little place, and the newspaper was next door, and they gave me a chance, and I started writing with them, and I started doing almost immediately. Like, this was Vail, Colorado, so there was a lot of artistic and musical talent came through there. So one of the first pieces, which is lost forever to print world, was on Ray Charles. I remember I worked at this hot dog stand on top of the mountain at 11,250 feet, the world's highest hot dog stand. Get it? Yeah. And they gave me the call up at the ski patrol, and they're like, "Donnelly, get down to the Vail Trail," and I like put on my stuff and went, because Ray Charles, and I wasn't even that good of a skier, but man was I good that day. And I made it down, and I got in time to do the interview, and it was awesome. I enjoyed speaking with them. I enjoyed talking with people. I enjoy conversing. I'm curious, and Ray Charles said, "Come see me after the show." I'm like, okay, how will you know it's me? And he's like, and no, he said that, and he's like, don't worry, I will. I'm like, okay, all right, cool. You are magic. So yeah, it's sort of like when I was my mid-20s when I had nothing left to do. I tried working in a straight job in New York, and it went miserably. I had, yeah. So does that answer your question? Thank you. Yes.
Thoughts and feelings about LA?
About LA in what way?
Love, hate, what you like about it?
Well, it is called LA, man. So
that's why I kind of thought that might be
yeah. Thank you. Teeing me up. I mean, also about that, it was sort of meant to be layman. It was like the palm trees were supposed to form a Y after the LA, and it was going to be a double entendre, and it just didn't quite work in the design. So yeah, LA man, that's me. But I love LA. I've lived everywhere. I remember when I got here, and I've been here before. I worked at the LA Times for a minute, and went away and went around, and all kinds of good and bad things happened. And came back in like 1996 to work at Ray Gun Publishing. And there's some Ray Gun people here. Yay, Ray Gun! Yay! Thank you. I can hear you, but I can't see you. And I came out here to start a snowboarding magazine, and it took me a minute, but I figured out LA, and I've lived in DC, I've lived in New York, I've lived in the Bay Area, I've lived in Philadelphia, I've lived in Pittsburgh, I've lived in Florida, I've lived in Ireland, I've lived everywhere, and I found that I was having the best conversations here in Los Angeles. I was around the most interesting people. I was feeling fed in a way that I didn't feel in New York. I felt, my friends in New York were like future masters of the universe. They actually made the financial crisis happen. No, I'm not kidding. They did. And that wasn't for me. I didn't even understand it. I didn't understand what they did. I think they did actually. But then it got even more complicated. So you get on Wall Street and you do what? And then it's like swap derivatives, blah blah blah. I didn't know what and. So out here in LA, it was just this magnificent conversation. It was, you could be lowbrow, you could be highbrow, you could be what you wanted. No one judged you. You didn't have to. There weren't these institutional things that you had to break into to get the notches on your belt. You could start your own thing. There was room. You could breathe, and unfortunately, that's being challenged a bit. But there's economic, intellectual room. There is space to do things. Remember, there's this publishing, magazines, DIY, startup, indie, Ray Gun Publishing, indie publishing. It was all this stuff going on. The music, Jane's Addiction, everything. All this kind of stuff it was just exploding, and it was not as narrow-minded as my experience in New York was. To tell you the truth, I mean, sure, you could go downtown and get freaky a little bit. I was there in the mid '80s and late '80s, and it was like the last time New York had anything approaching an edge or something, but. I just felt like Los Angeles was the most amazing place, and I still do. I love it dearly. And I love you people. I love LA people. Thank you, you guys. The lady, Jackie.
Yes. Is LA Man an homage to LA Woman, the song?
No.
No? Is this a happy coincidence?
It is. Laymen. We're all laymen. Journalists are laymen. We have to dive in and do whatever the people we're covering do. We have to become instant experts. We have to go surfing with professional surfers. We have to shoot pool with pool sharks. We have to go on dates with starlets. It's what we got to do. So it's kind of like that's the plan. But it doesn't hurt, I guess. LA man. Okay, you won a door prize. Do you want an issue of Slake, an issue of Los Angeles in the 1970s?
I don't know what.
You won a door prize. You want an issue of Slake or an issue of Los Angeles?
You pick. Dealer's choice.
Dealer's choice. Okay, here. Have issue number 4. Hard to find issue number 4.
No, I'm kidding. Please don't.
So many people in here are in these issues, so find them and get them to sign it. Yes. You want a door prize?
Thank you, sir.
Who else has the question? You want? Okay. Who else?
I have a question.
Yes.
So, what you said was fairly profound. You have these really bright Ivy Leaguers back in New York going down to Wall Street to accelerate capitalism to the degree a human being becomes a target. And literally the most vulnerable in our society are shot down by a market that is being developed and devised by the brightest minds in America through the education system. And then you got the West Coast, you got LA, where we're not doing that. Where we're sending out a message of humanity and the arts, and we have the only gross product that goes around the world, #1, made here in America, and #1 throughout the world. We're it. We're absolutely it. And thanks for reminding me of that. Do I get a book?
Sure.
Good question.
I do want to say, though, to add to that, that's under siege. You know, you can't be paying $3,000 for a 1.5 bedroom, 900 square foot apartment and it not be under siege. So that's what I'm scared about with Los Angeles. I'm scared that
the hook's with us. We're it.
Yeah.
It's not New York. New York is already in.
I agree, but we've got to defend that. We've really got to defend that because this capitalism is grinding and chewing everything up right now. You know, including what's great about Los Angeles, including what's great about this creative capital that's in this room. Okay, what would you like, Slake or Los Angeles in the 1970s? Am I still talking to this? Doing. Okay. First issue.
Yay! Thank you.
So, what would old Joe Donnelly tell young Joe Donnelly?
Whoa. Okay, I'm giving it. You get two. Well, don't we have to wait till Joe Donnelly's old?
What warning would you give yourself? What warning?
So what warning would, let's just, oldish, Joe Donnelly, older. Yeah, maybe older. I'm not sure. I don't know. If anyone read that interview in the LA Weekly today, apparently I haven't gotten any wiser. Or at least more cautious. I don't know. I think I would say don't, keep some money, not all of it has to go, I mean, it's great to be, F the man and screw capital, but keep a little money, just a little, it's probably that, but there's also this though, when you're young, and look, I was young and I was extremely privileged. I had people give me breaks, and I had breaks that other people didn't get. Lori Ochoa right here gave me the biggest break of my life. Thank you, Lori. And gave me, hired me for the job that was my dream job, being the, her deputy editor at the LA Weekly under her, at a time when it was just a beautiful thing. It was a beautiful paper, beautiful time, beautiful place. Don't take anything for granted. I wish I'd been taking more care with my time. I'm one of those assholes who was like, your future's there. I get to that. I've got so much potential. It's all going to happen in the future. Blah blah blah. Now, I'm 54. I'm like, oh wait, the future's back there. It's a little bit. This is so. I wish I would have. Realized that time is so precious and valuable, and maybe not have wasted as much as I did. But I also had a really good time. So it's but. Time is precious, and you don't have to blow all your money. That's my kids. Time is precious. No, okay. LA in the 1970s?
Yes.
Okay. Can we pass that back? Sorry. This gentleman had a question here, and I forgot. Yeah? Okay. Yes.
I'm from Ireland, so I'm really interested that you
Where are you from? From Ireland?
Yeah.
Whereabouts?
I'm from Dublin.
Oh, you came all the way from Dublin, did you?
Yeah, of course.
I still remember I went to Black Rock College.
Did you really?
See your face? You guys ever seen The Wall?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was it. Yeah. 1972, we started the Troubles. Yeah.
So, no, I'm interested that you said that you lived in Ireland. What was your experience there like?
I just told you. No, I'm from New Jersey. I was born in upstate New York, but we moved to New Jersey when I was like 1 or something. And Haddonfield, New Jersey, where they filmed Friday the 13th, I think. So yeah, we had great times when I was a kid. Then we moved to Ireland, and I'm in like bell bottoms and long hair, jean jacket, at age 6 or 7. I was like a hippie kid, like feral kid. And we go to Ireland, and I'm like being thrown into this gnarly Catholic school. Like literally, there's a cloud and lightning cracking over the top of it all the time, and I had the whole uniform and everything, and the wool pants. I never touched wool before. It was awful, and a tie.
Always flash as well.
Yeah, and they got me all done up like Angus Young and AC/DC, but they forgot to tell me to cut my hair. My parents, I'm talking about. So I went into school the first day. It was like first or second grade, I can't remember, and all the kids started banging their books on the desk saying, "Long-haired American monkey, long-haired American monkey." Like all of it, and I'm like, whoa! The room starts spinning. Mom! Yeah, I mean, my mom dumped me off and she was gone. Like I was like, fuck. So, and then of course at recess, they go out and they start trying to beat me up and I kick their asses. Good for you. I mean, I've been eating steaks in New Jersey, so like there's still a potato famine there in 1972.
You were a Donnelly, by God.
Yeah, remember Long Arm of Dan Donnelly? It's in the pub, in Donnelly. Yeah, what I'm talking about. Great anesthesia boxer with really long arms. Yeah, you can see his arm. It's zoomed and it's embalmed in a pub. Okay. Yeah. For you.
All right, you got one more. You want to do one more question?
Yeah, one more question.
One more question.
One more question? Anyone got? Yeah, Robert.
What happened to the wolf?
The wolf. What happened? Great question. To send that back to the wolf. You got that? You can give it to someone. The wolf is alive and well, and not only that, but the wolf's progeny have become the first wolf packs in California. The Shasta pack, and there's one other. Those are the offspring, and this wolf was I was told that he'd be dead within a year when I was doing those stories. And out of the blue, against all odds, another wolf found him, followed his trail. I was like, he's marking a trail. He's doing it so other people can follow him. They're like, no, wolves, it's too far, blah blah blah. But a wolf found him right on the border. He had puppies, and he crossed over the border on the very day that the California Department of Fish and Wildlife was deciding whether or not to protect wolves as endangered species. And literally as they're going to vote, pictures start going around virally of the wolf pups that were right on the border, so they had to do it. So they had to protect wolves. So one of the biologists that I talked to called him a Messiah wolf, and it turns out he kind of was. So, yeah. All right. Well, thank you very much. Thank you so much. And thank you, Starlight. Have stuff to drink.
You've been listening to the Skylight Books author reading series. Don't forget, you can listen to this and all of our other great podcasts at skylightbooks.com. Thanks again for stopping by, and we hope to see you soon.